What's up, guys? It's been a while since I've done one of these. It's not really a vlog. I'm actually going to start something. It's called Wild Prep, and Wild stands for what I've learned during prep. It's just going to be like whenever I feel like doing one, or something that I've learned that I think might be helpful, or things that pop into my head, and also as a way to sort of remember it for next time I prep, because I haven't really been logging as much as I normally do on the forums. So I'm going to use this as sort of like a double thing to help if you guys enjoy them, or just if I want to look back on them. So two things that I could probably start this with is, one is how training's changed. What I've learned probably the most during this prep is that you can't keep volume, or not many. There's probably a good few people that can if they have the ability to, and they can diet on high numbers, but volume probably will have to come down eventually. And I'm kind of known as a volume junkie. My coach has called me that, and I enjoy volume, but even now I cannot do what I used to do in the off season. I'm just tanked. Like halfway through my workouts, I'm done. So that's one thing. Is I remember Brad, who's my coach, telling me at the beginning of prep that eventually volume will have to come down. I'm like, nah, it'll never come down, blah, blah, blah. He doesn't know me. I love volume. So, yeah, it came down. He didn't actually recommend it come down. He said, maintain it as long as you can, and if, strength starts dropping, then bring it down. But I've just had to bring it down for the very reason that I haven't got as much energy, fuel, etc. to get me through. So that's one thing that I definitely, if you have to ask me at the beginning of prep, well, do I think I would drop volume? I would have said not a chance. But yeah, something to consider if you are getting deep into prep is keep the load on the bar and move the weight. Another thing is there's like a few studies out, I think one or two that I read recently, that show you can like maintain your muscle mass with a third of what you would normally do in the gym, as long as you maintain bar load. So let's say you're doing 100 kilos or 100 pounds, whatever you want to call it, just an even number, 100 for 5 sets of 5 on squats or any exercise. You could probably cut that down to like maybe 2 sets, 1 or 2 heavy sets. If you can keep that 100 kilos on the bar and hit like, a couple of sets of even like 4 to 5 reps, you're going to maintain most of your muscle mass. A lot of that also has to do with how slowly you diet, lots of other factors too, but yeah, you're probably going to have to drop volume some point, or even just reduce it slightly. What else? Oh yeah, stimulants. Don't start prep completely burnt out from stimulants. Now, I don't know if I really prescribe to the whole adrenal fatigue thing, but if you start like on, say, 400 milligrams of caffeine a day, which is a lot, to get an effect after a certain amount of time, you're going to have to keep bumping that up, because eventually that 400 will become, in a sense, your baseline. So say you need 400 milligrams to get you moving, and it does the job for many weeks. Eventually, your body's going to get used to that. So to get an effect that you were getting before, you're going to have to increase it. And go without stimulants as long as you can, because you're probably going to want to add them in the last few weeks. Try not to, don't start on, this huge amount of stimulants, pre-workouts, all that sort of stuff. Because by the time you get to 4 weeks out, you're going to the amount of caffeine, the amount of stimulants, concoctions, whatever, is going to be ridiculously high and probably quite unsafe. So yeah, if you're like 20 weeks out, try to go for as long as you possibly can without stimulants, or use as little as possible to get an effect. So if that means like 80 milligrams of caffeine pre-workout, just go with that. If you can maintain, say 80 milligrams, you're still getting an effect and you're still getting what you want, then by the time you get to prep, say if you want to, like the last few weeks of prep, If you want to add a little bit more, then that's fine. You could probably go up another 100 milligrams even, and you're going to get a big effect from that. But yeah, that's probably one thing. I started too high with stimulants, mainly for studying purposes. I don't really like too much stimulants when I train. I get too jittery, and yeah, like the one thing I like to use a lot is from Driven Sports. It's called Craze, and I use a ton of that to study. And I don't really enjoy that pre-workout as much, simply because it gets you really focused to the point where if I'm too focused on something, I generally forget other things, or I will, like, for example, I'll be sitting there and analyzing my training log, and it's not something you always want in the gym. Sometimes you just want to go in and kill it. But yeah, so that's probably two things I would say you could possibly learn from my experience. But yeah, so I'm going to keep these going. This is the first one. If anything else pops into my head, I'm just going to put them out, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Just as a little update, I am 2 weeks and a couple days out of my last show of the year. Fat has dropped to 20 grams on all days, which seems real low, but I mean, I'm only going there for like, what, a matter of 14-15 days, so it's not going to be too bad. Carbs are still at 175 on low days and 350 on high days. Protein is actually gone up, so we did like a little bit of a macro swap. We took out some fats and put in more protein. So protein now is what is it? 235 on all days. And yeah, that's basically where it's at. Cardio wise, I'm still doing Lyle's training protocol type thing with the hit blocks either side of missed cardio. I haven't used Yohimbine for a very long time, but I have added it back in now since I think I could probably get an effect. I'm lean enough to get an effect, and it is starting to get down to those stubborn body fat areas. I hate the way I feel on Yohimbine, but it's only 2 weeks. So I'm not taking it every day, I just take it on the days I do cardio. So that's maybe like 3 times a week at most. So it's usually about 2 or 3. Calories burnt, I have 1,800 a week, which is, quite honestly, nothing compared to what I did last prep. 1,800 calories, I can get through that in maybe 2.5 hours. So spread that out over the week, and it really isn't much at all. Compared to last prep, I was doing like that every single day, like 2 hours of cardio, morning, night, before school, after training, before training. It was, this prep in comparison to last prep is ridiculous. Like these are pretty close to my starting macros of what I started my last prep on. So yeah, I think that gives you a bit of an idea of how shit last prep was. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm going to go to uni now. I have like a meeting with our little group that we're doing a presentation for. So I hope you guys enjoy these, and I'll keep them going. Thanks.